Greetings and welcome to the James Madison University School of Music Open House. We are glad you're interested in our program and we're excited to share some information about the School of Music and answer some of your questions. We're going to start with a brief overview of the program, followed by some information about the admissions process. After that, we'll answer some of your questions. I want to start by introducing who's on our panel today. So I'm John Allemeier, and I'm the director of the School of Music. We also have Dr. Mary Jean Speare, who's the associate director of the School of Music. Dr. Jeanette Zyko, who is our professor of oboe, but also oversees our admissions in the School of Music. Dr. Joanne Vander Vat-Chromy, who is our director of choral activities. Xavier Williams, who's one of our students. He's an instrumental music education major and a trumpet player. And Molly Cahlink, who is a vocal music education major. So I'd like to start with some fun facts about James Madison University. We are located in Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is in the Shenandoah Valley. We are between the Shenandoah National Park and the Washington and Jefferson National Forest. James Madison is a large public university. We have about 20,000 undergraduate students and over 70 different undergraduate majors and professional programs. The School of Music is approximately 400 undergraduates and about 50 graduate students. And as you can see from the map here, we are situated close to Washington, D.C. We're about 2 hours from Washington, D.C., 2 hours from Richmond, Virginia, and an easy drive to a lot of the major metropolitan areas on the East Coast. The School of Music is part of the College of Visual and Performing Arts, which consists of the School of Art Design and Art History, of course, the School of Music, and the School of Theater and Dance. One of our many strengths are our facilities. Pictured here is our 600-seat concert hall, which is part of the Forbes Center for Performing Arts. The Forbes Center has 4 other performance venues: the Main Stage Theater, which is where we put on our opera production. There's also a dance theater and a black box theater. And last is our recital hall, which is where many of our student and faculty recitals take place. If you go to the School of Music website and go to the Recordings tab, you'll be able to view a number of performances that have been live streamed from our concert hall. This semester, we're upgrading our recital hall to add streaming capabilities. I should also note that we are an all-Steinway school. We have approximately 150 instruments throughout the School of Music in our practice rooms, rehearsal spaces, and classrooms. The music building consists of classrooms, rehearsal rooms, practice rooms, and faculty studios. An important feature of the music building is that it houses our music library, which consists of an extensive collection of musical scores, recordings, and scholarly texts. We are the only academic unit at JMU to house its own library collection. Another interesting feature at JMU is Wayland Hall. Wayland is a fine arts living community for first-year students in the College of Visual and Performing Arts. In order to live there, you have to apply, or it could be offered to you through a scholarship package. In addition to being a dorm, it is intended to be an arts incubation environment. Not only are there living spaces, but there's a gallery space, practice rooms, maker spaces, a teaching classroom, and a recital hall with a Steinway grand piano. The School of Music at the undergraduate level consists of a Bachelor of Music, which is a professional program. And this shows you shows you all of our concentrations. And I'm going to go through each one of those for you. But it's also important to note that we also have a music minor, a general music minor, as well as a music industry minor. So if you're interested in writing music, you might want to look into composition. This curriculum focuses on writing and performing original music. Students must audition on a primary instrument and take applied lessons throughout their time at JMU. Every year, the JMU hosts a contemporary music festival, which brings in leading composers from across the country. Students who are interested in jazz and improvisation may want to look into our jazz studies program. Students participate in a large and small ensembles as well as jazz combos. Courses include jazz theory, jazz history, and improvisation. Every summer, we offer a study abroad program in Montreal, where students experience the Montreal Jazz Festival while earning credits. Music education, our Bachelor of Music Education leads to licensure in music education, so you'll be a licensed teacher when you finish that program. An interesting fact is that more music educators in the state of Virginia studied at JMU than any other university. Our faculty regularly present at the Virginia Music Educators Association Convention, which gives us an opportunity to stay in contact with many of our alumni. This is important for our students for student teacher placement, as well as placing our students in jobs after they graduate. Music industry is for students who are interested in production, arts management, and arts administration. This curriculum consists of courses like audio engineering, arts management, copyright law, and arts administration. An important part of that program are the internships, where we place students in a work environment to help them both develop professional skills as well as professional connections. Many of our students go on to work for music production companies, recording companies, or choose to be self-employed or follow a more entrepreneurial path by starting their own companies. And last is music performance. Our music performance degree is for students who are interested in careers in performance. Many of our music majors go on to become professional musicians. Many choose to pursue advanced degrees in music. Our graduates go on to study at leading graduate programs across the country, and some audition into some of the military bands or military performing ensembles. In a typical year, the JMU School of Music hosts approximately 250 performances, and we have around 30 performing ensembles. So next, we'd like to go over some of the audition procedures for this year. They're a little bit different. We're going to have a virtual audition process. The admissions process for JMU and for the School of Music consists of 3 steps. You must apply to JMU, to the university. You'll need to sign up for a virtual audition, and then you'll have to submit your supplemental application materials to the School of Music through SlideRoom. So there are 2 application deadlines for JMU. First is the early action, which is November 15th. And then the regular decision is February 1st. We also encourage you to apply early action because it'll make sure that you are considered for music scholarships and merit scholarships. If you apply early action, that decision is typically returned to you sometime beginning of January, around that time frame. And for regular decision, that's sometime mid-March. So JMU is an SAT, ACT optional program admissions process, but for with regards to academic rigor, JMU is primarily looking for A's and B's in your core classes in high school, which would be math, English, science, foreign language, and now of course I'm going to miss one because I didn't write it down. But so your core classes, you'll need A's and B's. So your audition portfolio, so you'll need to go to our admissions website where you're going to find that information. You'll be able to register for an audition, and you'll be able to see where what our audition expectations are and what those materials need to be. There's a link available that has guidelines to what our expectations are for the different instruments for auditions, and you'll find those materials there. Yep, and then so we are doing virtual audition days this year, and so we'll be sending out information to you as those dates approach. So go to our admissions page and look at those application materials. And these are some of the things that you're going to be asked for. So be ready for that. So I recommend go to that site, look and see what you need before you actually commit to sit down and doing it, so you don't have to go back and find those things. And one of the things I want to point out this year is you'll see 2 deadlines associated with each of our audition dates. One of them is when the virtual audition date is, and then there's a week leading up to that. And so we are asking students to submit their slide room materials, which include their video auditions, a week ahead of time. So for example, for our November 2nd audition date, we're asking those materials to be submitted a week ahead of time. So that would be October 26th. So there are 2 pathways to us. There's the School of Music admissions office, which is that musicadmit@jmu.edu email address. And then we also have a director of admissions, and Sheena Ramirez, who you may or may not see it through some sort of virtual high school visit at some point. But you can contact her through admissionscvpa@jmu.edu. So I'm going to turn it over and we can transition over to some questions. As I'm doing that, what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask Xavier and Molly to introduce themselves. Those are our 2 students on the panel. And really, if they could, what we'd like to hear is why you chose JMU for your college experience. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but I'll turn it over to Xavier and Molly.
I'll go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Allemeier, and to all of the other professors and leaders from the School of Music. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Xavier Williams. I am a sophomore music education major on trumpet from Hampton, Virginia. I'm also a member of our honors college here at JMU as an honors interdisciplinary minor. The reason why I chose JMU was my number 1 school that I wanted to go to, but I made that decision as an 8th grader. In middle school, and as an 8th grader, I recognized that the community here through band camp, that's when I came through band camp, was something that I wanted to be a part of. And as I was continuing through my high school journey and getting closer and closer to the step that most of you all are in right now, I realized that this was the school that I needed to be at in order to be a successful educator. And as Dr. Allemeier said in his opening statements, that most of the music educators here in the Commonwealth of Virginia are from James Madison University. And so when I found that out, I said, well, why not join the group of great educators? And so that led me to choosing JMU, and I've loved it ever since. It's great opportunities here to grow and to mold leadership skills, not only just as a musician, but just as a holistic learner. And so that's why I chose JMU.
Excellent. Thank you, Xavier. Molly?
Thank you so much, Dr. Allemeier. My name is Molly Cahlink, and I am a current senior vocal music education major. I am the current American Choral Directors Association president, and I also work with the undergraduate University Women's Choir as the one of the assistants. The reason I picked JMU was actually because of Dr. V. When I came and I took a shadow day, I got to go sit in on the University Women's Choir my senior year of high school, and I fell in love with the environment. I loved everybody there, and everybody was so welcoming. And when I auditioned for the School of Music that January, I knew immediately, like, this was the school for me, and there was no turning back. And when I got my acceptance letter that March, I sobbed. So I knew JMU was the school for me from the very beginning.
Great, thank you, Molly. Well, I can't let that go without allowing Dr. Vat-Chromy to introduce herself, and we'll have the other faculty members on the panel introduce themselves real quickly. We'll start with Joanne.
Well, Molly, thank you. It's like make me teary. So I'm Joanne Vat-Chromy. I'm the director of choral activities and the coordinator of the voice area here at JMU. And we are delighted that you're here for this very cool webinar. And I'm starting my 11th year here at JMU. It seems like I just got here. Everything is very new. But I want to tell you that I am a proud Duke, and I bleed purple, which everybody knows. we have the opportunity at our school to create the future. And if you're interested in doing that, please consider us highly.
Excellent, thank you. Let's go to Dr. Zyko.
All right, hello. If you see me typing, I'm furiously trying to answer some of the questions here in the Q&A, but I'm still paying attention. So my name is Jeanette Zyko, and I'm the Director of Music Admissions, and I also teach oboe. And this is my 5th year at JMU, and I'm very excited to be a part of the virtual open house this year. I feel like we have a chance to reach people that maybe we wouldn't on a normal day when you come to campus. So I'm looking forward to answering all of your questions. The process has obviously changed this year, as Dr. Allemeier already told you. Let's see, is there anything else I need to say? I probably won't review all the steps unless somebody asks a question and you want me to talk a little bit about the process. But I'm going to type some answers while we're answering some other live questions as well.
And that leaves us Dr. Speare.
Hello and welcome to the webinar. I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you at our audition days. I'm Dr. Speare. I've been here almost 20 years. I think next year will be 20, and I teach music history sometimes. So if you stick around for your senior year, you might be in a music history seminar with me.
Very good, thank you. So I guess I didn't do much of an introduction to myself. So just so everyone knows, I've been here since July 1st. And so I have circled a lot of people on this to help keep me honest, so that there aren't questions that I don't know yet, because I am so new. But it is a wonderful place to be. I came here because it's an exciting environment, and it's really a thriving program. So so just so you know. Do we want to capture any of these questions verbally, or you guys are doing a great job catching them through typing, but we can, Dr. Vat-Chromy, could you talk about choirs and potential for minors to minors or non-majors in the choral programs?
Sure. We have 5 ensembles that meet throughout the course of the year, and 3 of them are auditioned, and we have 2 that are non-auditioned, the University Women's Chorus and the University Men's Chorus, who combine very, very often in pieces as well. Those are open to everyone across campus, music majors or non-majors. Then we have the Treble Chamber Choir, which is the select freshman and sophomore auditioned ensemble, singing very, very complicated modern music and in a very beautiful environment. Then we have the Masterworks Ensemble, which is the biggest choir at school, is the JMU Chorale. And the JMU Chorale is a heavily auditioned ensemble, and we have a lot of command performances. We sing at the Pops concert. We do a lot of dancing and choreography for that. And we present Masterworks for the holiday season. And then usually every spring we do combined projects with the orchestra. So which is really one of our very special projects at JMU, is that we work at least twice a year in combination with the orchestra. Then we have the Madison Singers, which is the highly advanced a cappella ensemble, usually somewhere between 24 and 28 voices. And these are the students that go out at a moment's notice. As part of our job is to drop the needle. You need us tomorrow, we can be there and do a beautiful concert. And we have a very big outreach in the School of Music and in the choral program. We've done over 70 nursing home and assisted living facility concerts in the last 9 years throughout. We have sung at a nearby penitentiary as well, which was an amazing experience, going into a very serious penitentiary and making music available for people who are really, really, they don't have the chance to experience the transformative power of the arts. we're busy all the time. Can I just say that it's a very, very active. We for the last 2 years, we've sung as invited guests at our VMEA conference, which was quite an honor for both times. And let's talk about minors for a minute. You can do a minor in music, and you can focus that in voice, or you can focus it in instrumental music. So you can do that. There's all sorts of ways you can design that. We also have a minor in a subject that is called Music and Human Services, which very often serves as a springboard for people to go into music therapy. Music therapy has a lot of different entry points to study. You can do it as an undergraduate, but and you can do it as a graduate student. But students that want to do it from JMU, that Music and Human Services is a great minor, and it's totally transferable to everything else. Molly, what am I forgetting about minors for voice? I think I've got
also the music industry minor for
right.
voice.
So yeah, and that we were going to talk about that for instrumental as well. The music industry minor for voice is very interesting because there's, as you all know, look where we are. We're on a webinar. Technology and understanding how to deal with the actual sound basis and technology basis of our field as musicians is not going away. It's just not going away. The COVID-19 we will figure out a virus in the next little while. I know it. But so the music industry is a really cool way to stay more savvy, marketable, and also to bring all of that into a classroom if you're going to be teaching. So we have lots of fun I want to say this, at JMU, you have your coursework and you have your requirements, and every university has that, but there's a lot of freedom to design the you that you want to be. I always ask students, who do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, we are grown-ups. We are? What are you talking about? We're in college. We're grown-ups. I'm like, no, who do you want to be when you leave JMU? And there's some flexibility that you might not recognize right away in getting to do that at JMU.
Excellent, thank you. And it's one thing to understand, and I have conversations with families often about, a lot of times families think about college as sort of that's the end of that you're done, you have a college degree and you're done, and then there's life, and really a college degree is part of a trajectory that you set, and so it's something to keep in mind. I wanted to hear from. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Zyko.
No, I was wondering if we could address one of the questions in the Q&A chat. They're asking, how has the School of Music changed during the pandemic, and how are classes and ensembles? I don't know if Xavier or Molly would like to start answering that, maybe?
Let's hear from the students.
Okay, I'll start first. So back when the pandemic started in March, we immediately started online. Everything just kind of switched. And the professors did a fabulous job switching to us. They were all very, very, very awesome at accommodating with us, and it was quick. We went on spring break and we returned online for the rest of the semester. Choirs went online, voice lessons went online, and the teachers have been super awesome. And then when we got told that this semester was going to be hybrid, many classes obviously started in person, and then when we transferred back online, many classes stayed online. There are still classes being in person, and some classes will be going back in person. I know choirs are going to start going back in small sections in the future to work together. We are doing it all socially distanced and safe, and that is one of the things that the School of Music has really emphasized, is making sure we're socially distanced. The music building has opened up so that we can use the practice rooms. We clean them thoroughly if we do use them, and there are times for them to air out. Everything is very much cautiously used right now, and we have specific instructions to clean the pianos to help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
I think Molly really answered that question fairly well. I would add to it by saying I think it's important that we commend the director and his team that took the time to truly write out, different policies and such that went into having students come back to campus for the opening of school. I know that many people have probably seen that JMU went home for a period of time and then came back, but the School of Music has been very dedicated to students feeling comfortable with being able to continue their coursework virtually or in a hybrid model. As a member of the Wind Symphony with Dr. Bolstead, he has taken the time to make sure that all students feel safe. He's explained why we social distance from music, the research of social distancing when it comes to music. So I would encourage everyone, especially when you're looking for a school to continue your post-secondary education, definitely find a place where you know that your professors are definitely keeping your best interests in mind academically, but also holistically. Because as the director said, this is the trajectory of where your life will go. And your professors play a big part in that. So the School of Music has done a phenomenal job keeping students safe and well educated during the pandemic.
And the only thing I'll add to that, and that's a really great insight to hear from the student side. And it's, over the summer, we had to do some really, really heavy thinking about how this whole thing would work. And the faculty over the summer, we were engaged weekly with what the safe protocols were, what the research said, and then how to translate into a functioning school of music. And I'll also point out that our protocols were so stringent and so well constructed that when JMU did do that move online, we actually had special permission for if students wanted to stay and continue in the format that they were in, that they were allowed to do that. And so a lot of the School of Music sort of started at the beginning of August and has been steady state since, because we've had those special approvals to keep moving the way we are because of those strict protocols and those successful protocols. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. I thought this would be a good question. We've had several questions about non-music majors joining ensembles. I've had some about choir, I've had some about concert band, and there's now one about the MRDs, the Marching Royal Dukes. And so maybe I'll let Molly and Xavier address that again. Is that?
Well, I will say definitely as a proud member of the Marching Royal Dukes. Yes, the Marching Royal Dukes is the largest organization on James Madison University campus. We are also probably the most diverse academically, with students coming from all disciplines. And it's actually been a very interesting experience to see like political science majors within the trumpet section, communication majors, nursing majors. It just goes to show that a lot of people can come together and create music, and they don't have to be music majors. And that is the wonderful thing about being in that organization, being in that group. When it goes to other ensembles, I was a member of the concert band last year, and we had students that, once again, were from different majors that had a love for music. And so if you do have that love for music and you aspire to be in an ensemble, I would definitely check with those ensemble directors and reach out and ask questions and try to make sure you can get in where you fit in.
Yeah, I think Xavier did a great job at explaining that. I will say my roommate is a senior here, and she is a non-music major. She's a SMAD major, and this semester she decided, you know what, I'm going to join women's course. And I was like, you go for it, Maddie. And she's been in that class this semester, and she's always asking me questions, trying to figure out what exactly are we learning, and I'm helping her. But there are so many students that aren't music majors in University Women's Choir. There's a lot in treble chamber choir, which is known as TCC, chorale too. There have been students who are non-majors, and the Madison Singers. So you don't have to be a music major to get into any of those ensembles. You might have to audition to get into the higher ones up, but the university men's and women's choirs are both open to anybody.
Great, thanks. I might mention something about the orchestra. They also asked about orchestras. There is a chamber orchestra that is open to students. The symphonic orchestra, I should say without audition. The symphonic orchestra is open by audition, and those auditions are at the beginning of the semester. So even if you're not a music major, you can take that audition, and you might pass and get in. I'm not sure if it's running this year, but in the past, there has been a club orchestra that also runs, I think it was a Wednesday night around 7 or something. And students could go to that if the regular orchestras did not fit in their schedule, or maybe they didn't want to be a part of, you might call those more rigorous, although from what I understand, the club orchestra was very good. They were pretty rigorous themselves, but it met at a definitely an easier schedule for students to fit. So those are some options for orchestra as well.
Excellent. So let me look in the chat here and some of those are specific, so I think we're going to we'll type those back. Actually, I was curious with Xavier and Molly, if you could share just what surprised you about JMU when you got here? Like what's an experience maybe that you didn't expect to have, but sort of enhanced. You knew what you were coming for with regards to an education, but what else? What other kinds of things have you experienced?
So one of the things that I think I came into JMU with, I knew I wanted to be a music teacher. I was like, I'm going to be a music teacher. I'm going to go teach elementary school. That's all I'm going to do. There's nothing else I really want to do. And then I joined my freshman year ACDA, which is the American Choral Directors Association. One of the former presidents said, hey, you should join this organization. I was like, okay, it sounds cool. Why not? And so I joined that organization, and I found a love for conducting immediately. And I was a part of Choral Fest for the last 3 years. And this year, unfortunately, we had to cancel it. But I have truly found a love for conducting that in the future I plan to pursue choral conducting because of the opportunities I've been given here and the support of Dr. B and Dr. Hayes to encourage me to go after not just doing music education, but to do also choral conducting in the future, because that's something I'm extremely passionate about. I've also had the opportunity to intern with the Shenandoah Valley Children's Choir, which is something that I never expected in my, coming in my first semester here. I had no clue about a lot of things. And I just feel like so many opportunities I have been given is because I just asked. I said, I'm interested in this. How can I somehow get involved? And I think that's what makes JMU really unique and why I can't imagine myself now as a senior leaving. I love this program. I love the faculty. I love everything about it. And you'll know when you find the right school. There's a special moment.
And I would definitely, just as a moment of transparency, I would say that one of the things that definitely caught me off guard becoming a music major and now in the concentration of music education is the challenge that comes with the degree. And I will say that when I was in high school, music to me was an outlet. Music was, wouldn't say recreation, but it was more of something I did that I enjoyed, and I knew like, okay, I could work at it, but as much as I wanted to. And when you come into the degree program and you take on music, it's a academic shift that you have to, adjust to. And so one of the challenges I had was making that adjustment and going from, this is a recreation to now I have to understand the theory of music and having to, learn the oral skills of music. And then what does it mean to be a music educator? So that was one of the problems or I wouldn't call it a problem, one of the challenges that I had to learn to overcome. And as Molly said, the faculty and staff here at JMU as a whole, but the faculty and staff here within the School of Music are very dedicated to the work that they do with students and preparing them for whatever they want to do in the future. And I hope that you all are hearing the significance of, being able to create your own future here at JMU, whether that's a club for music, whether that's your own academic endeavors, or whatever the case may be. You really have the pencil in your hand to map out your future.
I'd like to say something if I can.
Please.
Something important to remember is that all freshmen have a similar experience when they become a music major. And you might have a leaning towards one area. You might be thinking, okay, I know I want to go into music education, or I know I want to go into music industry, but you have the chance to look around and see, is that really what I want to do? And you might find that you'll change your mind, and you don't actually declare any of those. You declare a music major right away, but you don't declare music industry or music education or performance until later on, until the second year.
Yeah, it's an excellent way to sort of get an introduction to the program and get your, get the lay of the land, but still being progressing through your degree as well. Yeah, it's an excellent thing. All right, here's a hard one. I love the hard questions, but we'll see who wants to tackle this. So, what's one thing you think JMU could improve on?
I love this question. I've been asked this question whenever I give a tour of the music building. It's the hills. The hills are the worst part of campus. You have no idea how many hills you walk up and down because we live on an entire hill campus. So, yes, JMU is great, but be prepared. You're going to have over 10,000 steps every single day your freshman year. And there's no way you're going to get that freshman 15 because you walk so much up and down the hills. I can't even explain. The hills are just hills. There's so many hills.
I will say that I was very close to the freshman 15. I was a bus person. So I would take the bus. One thing that I know that JMU can work on and improve on, and something that we've been doing as a university, especially with the current climate of our nation, is just inclusion and diversity. And I think JMU has taken many strides to make sure that we're working towards that. And I think it's important that we recognize that that's something that we're working towards. And we're not a perfect university in that area. And I would go to the extent to saying that no university would probably say that they're perfect in that area. But JMU is continuously working to making sure that JMU is an inclusive place for all students. It's a diverse place for all students, and that all students feel accepted and respected the moment they get here. So that is one thing that I think that we are improving on, but it's something that we have to continue to focus on.
Go ahead, Dr. V.
I wanted to say that I think that one of the things that JMU is improving on, but we need to continue to improve on, is we need scholarships and endowments. We need to reach out to our alums and our business supporters, and we just need to be doing that more. And it's a constant task for the School of Music, and we're doing pretty well, but we have big plans. So I'm saying that because I know there's 30 people that are listening to this that I don't know, I'm just saying, you never know when you talk about it. So maybe something will happen from this conversation.
Great, thank you. Those are all great responses. As the director, I see a lot of things that need, and I will tell you, I interviewed here last spring, and I kind of looked under every stone and to see what I could find. And I'll tell you what, I didn't come here because it's not awesome. But I also came here because I came here because it's not perfect. And I've told the faculty this in our first faculty meeting is I didn't come here. The reason I came here was because it's an awesome school of music. It's on an amazing trajectory, but it does need some tweaks. We can make some adjustments here and there. And Molly, I don't think I can do anything about the hills. But the other things, especially what Xavier mentioned, with diversity and inclusion, that's a conversation going on. I can assure you at every level at this university. What Dr. V brought up about endowments, that's a conversation. So I think there's a lot of self-assessment that's going on, and I think there's good plans in place. So I think that's and that's one of the reasons I came here is because I thought I felt very strongly this is a good place to be. Yeah. What else? Any Dr. Zyko? Do we have any other questions you think could be fielded by the group?
Yes, I have a question I would like to ask Dr. V because I don't know the answer, so I have not been able to type it. They're asking how many students are admitted into the music education program, and specifically with a concentration in voice. And I can tell you how many students approximately come in as freshmen every year. I don't know.
Well, it's funny that question came up because I know this math because I've been dealing with it all summer. So let me say it like this. When you're accepted into the vocal music or instrumental music area, we don't filter or design for your concentration. if you're in the program, you're here. And as people have said, you may stay in that concentration, you may double major, you might have a minor in a concentration, or you might change. We don't care. So what's interesting is that I've done some metrics on this for the last 11 years. The vocal performance and music education are always tied. How does this happen? I don't know. Well, partly because James Madison, when it was Madison College, was a teacher's college, right? So we have a very strong roots of our tradition and history in education, and plus our place in the state, as well as you've heard already. So that music education is going to come up, but the quality of our performance faculty has brought that up. Right now, we took in last semester, well, I don't want to say numbers, but how many come in? So again, the concentration doesn't matter what your concentration is, but it ends up we're always tied with the music performance and music education, with music industry catching up, getting bigger every year, which makes sense because there's more interest in the music industry from the vocal entry point as well.
How about, and I'm not sure, maybe this would be a good question for Molly and Xavier. We always get questions about double majoring, and is double majoring possible? And I know in music admissions, we always say, yes, but.
Go ahead, Molly.
Okay, I was going to say, I work in music admissions also, so I understand this question. So yes, you can double major. Although, you might realize that it's a lot. Being a music major is more than just doing one major. It feels like you're taking at least 16 credits every semester up to your senior year. And when you add a double major, you're at least going to be doing 20 plus. So while it's wonderful that people want to double major, it's really, really hard. You're going to have to take summer classes in order to do that. But it's possible. Students have done it in the past. I know somebody who was a triple major. So you can do it. You're just going to be potentially here for a 5th year or for a little bit longer. But if you are up for the challenge, go for it. Like, anybody can do it.
And if it's okay if I jump in now, of course, I asked Xavier and Molly to answer that. They're both music ed majors, and that is probably one of the fullest programs. Double majoring is probably more doable if you're a performance major, for example. You have more chance for electives from different areas, or potentially majoring or minoring in something different.
I would add to that by saying I am not a double major, but definitely adding a minor has added another component to what Molly was talking about. And I would truly, I'm the type of person, it's my main mission to make sure that we focus on finding the positive in every negative. And so if you are determined to do something, you will only be as successful as what you are determined to get accomplished. So if you want to do the double major, you have to recognize the work that's ahead of you and making sure you get it done. But it comes down to what you want to be successful at and how much you're willing to put the work in for.
Great, thank you. So we only have about a minute left, and the way I'd like to end this is I'm going to ask Molly and Xavier to each take a turn to give us their final best pitch on JMU and the School of Music. So, take it away, guys. You guys are our strongest voices.
I will say the best thing about JMU, honestly, is the community. No matter where you're going to go, you're going to find a community, but there's something about the JMU community that makes us really strong. I will say I am beyond sad to say that I'm a senior and that I have to leave this community, because there's something truly, truly, truly magical. It's like Disneyland in college. That's kind of what JMU feels like. It's felt like that since the day I walked in, and the Wilson Hall is like the castle. So when you know, you're gonna know, but there's something truly magical about JMU.
And I definitely would say that the mission of our university is the reason why I would tell you to come to JMU. Our mission here is that we are a community committed to preparing students to be engaged and enlightened citizens who lead meaningful and productive lives. And if that's something that you find near and dear to your heart, that you want to leave, whatever institution you go to, be a productive and meaningful citizen in our nation, then JMU is the school for you. And I hope that you'll make that decision.
Excellent. And with that, we will conclude. Thank you all for spending some time with us. Reach out if you have any questions.